go. So, all right, sorry about the problems, guys. Thanks for joining up. We'll go ahead and get started on talking about one of my, bigger things recently, like we were talking about a little bit before the show with the Chase Freedom Unlimited and UR points versus cashback, and some of the things that you can do with those two different point programs. So I want to thank everybody who's just signing on online. Appreciate you stopping in or watching the recording even after the show. Let's go ahead and jump into it. For people who are here, I know that I said this before the show started, but I also want to go ahead and say it one more time. If you type /Q, you can see the little slash down there by your chat message. If you can either click on that slash, or you can just type the slash, which is right down by the question mark. You use /Q and you can ask a question. Those questions get posted up for me over here. I'm able to see those and answer those. It keeps everything a lot more organized, because when people start typing the questions in the chat, it's just not possible for me to follow everybody. And it just becomes a little bit too much and it's overwhelming. So that's the one thing I do ask. Please use the /Q. It keeps everything much better, more organized for me. So we'll get started. Let's talk about the UR points versus cashback. And if anybody wants to join in, there's a button, I think, over here that says call in. You're free to call in. The webcam does kick on and your microphone. So it takes a little courage, but nothing too bad. We'll talk about UR points and that, especially the Chase Freedom Unlimited, and why it's so interesting. So I think for most people, there's two different types of people, I feel, just from my basic research and everything that I see. There's two interesting people when it comes to cashback, and those are the people who you have a card for every single gas station 5%, grocery store 5%, whatever it is, Amazon, whatever the categories are, you have a card for every single thing, and you try to really maximize your 5%, across all of your cards. And then there's the people who really like, say, the double cash, the city double cash card, and they just use that for everything because, number one, it's a lot simpler, and number two, because it's a pretty good card. 2% on everything is not bad when you're comparing that with 5% across a number of cards. So either way, it's not a bad look. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys, I got people in here. Where do you guys mostly stand when it comes to cashback? Are you guys generally, you're just in it for the 2%, or do you guys try to bounce around a lot between the 5% cards, or are you just generally travel related cards like the SPG or maybe a UR card, something like that? I generally use my Sapphire. Got one person here saying just generally flip around. So I think that's interesting. And so Garvey with the baseline 2% card, and try to have a card for every other category. And that's I think that's what most people do when it comes to cashback. But here's the interesting thing with this Freedom Unlimited. So anything that you have that's, when you're looking at this Freedom Unlimited cards, the one interesting thing is that UR points are as good as cashback. So if you use, say, the Sapphire every day, you're getting a 1% return. So it's half as good as, say, the double cash. The Freedom Unlimited, though, changes everything, kind of flips it on its end with 1.5%. So it's 1.5%, for people who, I don't know if there's anybody here who's not technically like super familiar with the UR system and how it works, and all the different cards that are out there. But the UR system is cash back. So when they're saying 1.5%, that's 1.5% cash back. But what's interesting with this card is that, of course, you can flip those points into travel. If you have a Sapphire or if you have an Ink, those are the only two that transfer out. I think there might be one more. I don't know which one it would be, though. So if you have the Sapphire, the Ink, you can always transfer your UR points out to travel partners, Southwest or Hyatt, United. I think most people stick with United or Hyatt and Southwest, but you can also do a number of other ones, even Singapore Airlines, I believe. So if you're using that card, if you were to get that card and use that for an everyday spend, what's interesting to that is that I think it's going to really appeal to the people who you generally like your cash back. You're generally always about getting your cash back. However, maybe you're considering getting into the travel side of things. I think when we get into churning and we were talking about everything on Reddit, we just generally assume everybody likes to travel. I feel like, especially the way we mold our posts and the way that we the data points and everything always come in. You never see anybody have a data point of, hey, I bought a computer, for free using cashback card. So you never see that. It's always, I went to this crazy place and I did this crazy thing. So with the addition of a card like this, those people who kind of lurk on the subreddit and they use their cards for cashback purposes, I think that this card may appeal to a lot of them just because they see all these great data points about all these trips and everything, but maybe they've just been hesitant to jump into trips. This is a good way to do it because you can earn cash back, but you can always flip those cards and start using them for travel if you wanted to. The only thing is that you make sure you have to have a Sapphire or an Ink card, which do carry an annual fee. So there is a fee that you have to pay for that. But it is interesting, and I do like to see SP. I just wish it didn't have that bigger annual fee. Now, Ian, I know I brought up your question before we started. I'm going to go ahead and pin that up again. There we go. So Ian asked the question, for somebody who doesn't care about premium travel like first class luxury hotels, is it worth collecting UR instead of going for cashback? Usually the best UR redemptions are for luxury travel and not for, I can't read the rest of this question for some reason. But yeah, I get the point, not for everything else. So, okay, I don't necessarily agree that UR is just good for luxury travel or luxury hotels. Okay, so you can use, not for economy redemptions. So you can use UR points, at Hyatt, and there's a lot of lower category Hyatts, and Hyatt is not bad for those low-level redemptions. Their point system isn't too bad. Only 25,000 for a night in the best of hotels. So it's 25,000 UR for, some of the best. And that's exactly what I was going to say, Russell, on the side here. Says that the UR points are great for Southwest. So that's what I use my UR points for. So we currently have the Southwest Companion Pass. We earned that in 2014. I love using my UR points towards Southwest because I'm basically taking one UR point and making 2 Southwest points out of it every time I transfer. So it's really a great system for the for people with a companion pass. But like I said, it's also, I don't mind it so much for Hyatt because even the lower categories, you can use them for that. But again, even if you don't care about luxury and you're just talking about economy travel, you're still comparing apples to oranges when you're looking at a travel related card period or a cash back. The nice thing, like I was saying just a little bit earlier, the nice thing about the UR system is that you have the flexibility. As long as you're holding a Sapphire or an Ink, you have the flexibility to use those points toward cash back if you want, or use them for travel. One, for instance, and the cashback is not a great redemption. This isn't. Here's the thing for me. That's exactly deals. The 1.5% UR technically becomes a 3% card when you're transferring it to travel, and that's being generous. I think everybody here knows that a UR point's worth at least 2 cents. It could be worth more. But if you look at a like I said, for that companion pass redemption, now you're taking a 1.5% and you're technically making that like 5-6%, and it still gives you the flexibility of cash. And what I was saying is that even if you're not talking about getting the best value, because I don't always get the best value for my points. All right, I try to, but I'm not like, I don't go out of my way to ensure that I get the best value for my points. When I first got the Sapphire, I didn't even have a computer at the time. I just brought my homework, my work computer from home, used that generally. It was just becoming a pain. And I just like the Chromebooks because they're a little bit easier and they're affordable. But, instead of shelling out the cash for one, I had the Sapphire. I went ahead, I signed up. It was whatever, $200. So it cost me 20K UR points, which is a lot, but I didn't have to pay for it. It's like, I know I didn't get the best redemption out of it. Yeah, I could have got a round trip flight, anywhere in the country, but it's sometimes you just use the points however you want. It's not ideal to use UR points toward cashback, but my point there, what I'm getting at, I guess, is saying that the UR point system is, the flexibility of it is worth holding on to. If you're not sure, if you know you're going to get cash back, yeah, don't collect UR points. But if you're not sure, if you're thinking maybe you're going to start dabbling in some travel, but you're currently doing cash back, consider to switch over to a Freedom Unlimited now. And if you're just maintaining your cards that you're holding on to, you're not applying for a hold to lot. I know that's not what most people do on our subreddit, but if you're going to stay under that 524 rule, there's no reason not to have the Freedom Unlimited, or you can product change to it. I know a lot of people have a Freedom. There's no shame in doing a product change to it. It's a great card. If you max out your 5% categories on your Freedom, it may not be worth it, but for people like me who generally don't, certainly worth looking into. Go and take that question out. And then Samir here says, what is the best small issuer card? The City National Crystal Infinite card. Yeah, okay, it's it's a good card, but the problem with that card is that you have to have high income, bank account levels have to be pretty good to qualify for it, and I think you have to qualify in branch, which makes it kind of difficult for most people to apply for, depending where the branches are. So I don't really follow the small issuer cards too much, so it's hard for me to comment on that. If anybody else has any topics, any ideas of mine, go ahead, feel free to post that in the chat. So where do you guys sit with the unlimited? I know that Beals, you said you switched over, you did a product change to it. Has anybody else changed over to the Freedom Unlimited yet, or are you guys mostly sticking with what you have right now? What do you guys do for your UR points? I mean, is it for your daily spending, I guess? You guys feel free to type in the chat. It won't bite you, I promise. Yeah, I feel you there. Switched over to it, but you have so much spend on. You're always trying to meet a minimum spend. I'm the same way, and I do try to meet my minimum spends naturally. Like I do manufacturer spend a good bit, but I do try to put some regular spend on cards. Especially with everything that's kind of been going on with all the shutdowns and everything. It's always wise to have a little bit of regular spend. I just have so many cards; it's hard to put regular spend on all of them. But I kind of mix it around, so keep things interesting. Miles for 2, changing over to the Freedom Unlimited once the CSP annual fee hits. That's not a bad look either. The only problem with that is that if you don't keep your CSP, then your Freedom UR points are kind of worthless. I decided to pay for my. Oh, you have the ink. Okay, if you have the ink, yeah, then you're set. I kept my CSP because I don't have the ink. I'm trying to read through these. It's so tough because there's so many people. Hey, Orange Keys, I think you were on here last week. Hello. Sides 5 times points. Staples. Yeah. No, like I said, I think the UR points are great. I don't have that many. It's one system I don't really have too many points in. So it's something to seriously consider jumping into a little bit more and investing a little bit more of my time and resources into that. it's something to consider for sure. Okay, so we'll go ahead and jump into the Starwood purchase, because I did want to bring this up at least a little bit, kind of talk about that, what you guys feel about it. I'll discuss my feelings on it. It's an interesting situation with Starwood. So I'm assuming that you guys are all familiar, especially if you've been on churning or on the subreddit a good bit. It's pretty much posted there every other day, it feels like. But long story short, Starwood's up for purchase for people unfamiliar. Marriott has been making Marriott started with an initial bid back in, I don't know, it's been a while now, maybe November. Anbang, a Chinese insurance investor group who does own some hotel properties in New York, maybe like San Francisco, a couple other places, they countered with a larger offer. Marriott countered that offer with an even larger offer. And what was it, earlier today, Starwood or Anbang has recountered with the highest offer yet. Here's what's interesting compared to what I've read on Reddit and then what I've read everywhere else. So if I look at the post, Anbang counters Marriott offer at $82.75 a share. No, I don't like that one. Maybe it was the comments I was reading a lot of this at. But what a lot of the comments were is that they're likely still sticking with Marriott. They're likely sticking with Marriott. That deal was looking at good. But then I'm going to go ahead and post this link up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this. Yes, I can. Okay, so I put that link up for you guys. For some reason, it put an HTTPS and it's not HTTPS, it's just HTTP. But if you look at that link, that's Wall Street Journal. Really, you have to link it through Google? Is that what it is? Oh, sorry, guys. If you actually Google Starwood Anbang Wall Street, that's weird. That does that. There we go. Okay, so if you click on that link and then you click on the top one there, you'll see the Wall Street Journal article. And what's interesting about that is that it makes very clear that the Anbang deal, Starwood publicly said that the Anbang deal is superior to the Marriott deal. So that's interesting. It definitely puts another spin on it. And Marriott came back out and at least said I'm double sounding. Is that true for anybody else? Am I echoing or anything like that? No? Okay. Probably have a couple of browsers open. That's probably all it is. So the Starwood buying or coming out and saying that the Anbang deal was superior is really interesting because Marriott so far has not countered. I think expectations are that they are going to counter. I know that the post, I think the post right now on Reddit, what's it say? Marriott sticking to old offer for Starwood. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know what article was that. That was just a self-posted Lincoln article there, New York Times. Yeah, for now. Yeah, exactly, for now. So I think the title there was a little bit misleading compared to, what Marriott actually said. They just haven't come out with anything yet. I do believe Marriott will counter once more just because Starwood already came out and said the deal is superior. Marriott's committed to winning this. So I think they will. And then trying to see one of our listeners here, Jacob, just posted up this Barron's link. Here's the truth, and here's the thing about this that's really interesting to me is that nobody knows what is going to potentially happen if Marriott buys it or if Anbang buys it. This is all assumptions. This is all a bunch of people who have no clue about business. I don't want to say not everybody has no clue about business, but the majority of us, aren't like quite at that level yet. And we're sitting here trying to figure out what's going to happen. It just seems to me that common sense is that if Marriott does win this out, that they will devalue the Starwood program when they merge it over. They already have their own loyalty program. And of course, I think that Marriott is very business focused. Their program is not a bad program at all. It's just more geared toward paid stays and business people. So I think that, when it comes, and especially with how many hotels they have, you can always stay at a Marriott. So yeah, it only makes sense that they're going to merge those two programs eventually, and the programs, are going to devalue in time. Now, what's interesting is that the post that I've read a while back that said Marriott said they're not going to be touching the Starwood program through the end of 2017. That's interesting to me because it's either one of two things. Either the merger won't happen until 2017, or they're just not going to touch the Starwood program. But I don't understand how that would happen because unless you can use Starwood points to stay at Marriott, which they would have to do away with all their categories. They'd have to do away with all their categories. They'd have to do away with everything the Starwood program has, or they'd have to put Marriott in those categories. I don't see that happening. I think that if Marriott does win this out, once the merger is complete, they're going to phase out the Starwood program fairly quickly. I mean, once they phase out Starwood properties, they're going to phase out Starwood. The problem is there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of brands. I mean, if you think of Starwood, you have Sheraton, Westin, the W, Le Meridien, and there's just so many. The list goes on and on and on. And Marriott, the same exact thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what brands would be kept and which brands would get rid of. I don't want to say I have an insider because I don't. I don't have these sweet hookups. But I did speak with somebody who is upper level management with Starwood. They at least heard through the grapevine that Marriott was very interested in the W hotels, and they're very interested in what makes the Starwood program so successful for people. But just because they're interesting doesn't mean that they're going to keep that that stuff around. But it's at least good news. I love W brand hotels. I think they're really cool. They're overpriced, but I always like them. I always have good service there. I don't have a problem with them. A lot of people prefer the Le Meridien, but I think the W program is pretty good. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that being legit yet regarding a meeting and a conversion rate and all that stuff. Just because that would be so far out yet. I don't think that the Starwood program is not going to be right at the top of the to-do list when it comes to a merger. They're not going to really worry about the point system. They're going to have a boatload of other stuff that has to come first. So I don't see them worrying too much about what's going on with that yet. Yeah, I mean 12 to 18 months minimum. I would probably I wouldn't be expected if that number. Well, I guess 12 to 18 months isn't bad. That's why you're saying the end of 2017. There's a lot that goes into it, and I just don't think the points the Starwood program is not going to be on the radar right now. I just don't see that happening. I don't see any kind of meetings going on behind closed doors. I'm sure it's been tossed around. I just don't think it's anything too serious yet. Question gets asked, do you think China's going to block the deal? No. So my understanding of a lot of this, and I'm not the most widely versed person when it comes to how international countries do business, but my understanding is that China had a number of companies want to buy Starwood. China as a country stepped in and said, no, you, Anbang, you get to go ahead. I don't know. I've read some numbers being thrown around. If somebody can kind of refresh me on what that was, I'm not sure. But I would think, generally speaking, China's going to be, or Anbang is going to be kind of given free range to buy it. I think that, there is some pressure there. They don't. Everybody kind of says that Anbang is not out for the hotels. They're out for foreign assets, foreign U.S. assets, and Starwood is a great place to do it. And if you're out for foreign assets, it kind of makes sense to leave the Starwood program the same or slightly modified, because you don't have another loyalty program or something else to base off, what you're doing. So it will be interesting to see, how this all goes down. And I believe the first meeting is April 8th, and that's regarding the Marriott offer. I don't know how. So, and I know that Marriott has a deal with Starwood right now. Basically says if you back out, you owe us $450 million. Anbang has already said they will pay $225 million. I think half is what they said. We'll pay the $225 for you. You pay the other $200 million. So it's not too big of a deal there. It also goes to show that, how serious Anbang is about winning this, in my opinion. They're going to keep countering. I think they want it. I really do. I think they want the property. But I think Starwood, the sense that I'm getting is that Starwood wants Marriott. So they're Starwood's playing between the two, of course. They want the most money they can get for their stockholders. But just my personal feeling, Starwood wants Marriott to win. Anbang is dedicated, and it's just an uphill battle for them. That's just the feel I get. I don't know, where do you guys stand? Like, how do you guys feel about all this? Because I personally, I feel like Marriott and Starwood is going to happen. It's just a sense of everything. It'll be interesting to see over the next couple weeks, though, for sure. Okay, I'm out of questions right now. So if you guys have any questions, whether it be about Starwood or UR points or cashback or redemption questions, whatever you guys have, use /Q, answer me some questions, because without questions, the show cannot go on. I can start blabbing about something else. I can talk about my amazing experience with American Airlines. That's very interesting. It's a very frustrating, but it is what it is. What it is. I'll run through these. I'll run through my experience with American Airlines just so you guys can hear this and, feel my pain here. So my fiance and I, we're going to Japan. We booked economy tickets from US to Japan and then Japan and back. We upgraded a couple of times over the past year. I think we booked these tickets in like June 2015. So we upgraded these tickets a couple of times. We went from economy to business class, and then I switched to, on my way back, I went from Japan to New York, or Tokyo to New York, because that was a flight that JAL was open on, and I'd rather fly JAL, even if it's economy. I'd rather fly them because their service is a little bit better than American. So I've kind of switched around a few. So I'm waiting for that first class redemption because I've always wanted to fly first class. I've never flown first class yet. I mean, hell, I haven't even flown international. I guess I went to Jamaica last month, but to a different continent. Haven't gone on a trip yet. So, and I wanted to get a first class flight under my belt. I feel like it's going to be good for when I blog and good when I talk about it. So I refresh my expert flyer every single day, and I'm sitting there waiting for those flights to become open. And finally, 2 nights ago, the flight comes open. I'm checking 3 times a day, so I'm so excited. So I wish I could have like a whiteboard here so I could, write all this out. I start off with, it's a 25,000 mile flight, Tokyo to Chicago, 25,000 mile flight. I got 2 tickets, 50,000 miles, easy. My route there is business class. At that time, it was 50,000 miles each, 100,000 miles. It was all booked through one account. So I booked one account, to book a round trip flight. The first class seats become available last night. I know that I don't have the miles on my fiance's account. It's only me. So I call with the intention of, I'm curious to know if I ask them, can I cancel the one-way flight back from Tokyo into Chicago? Can I cancel that one leg on her account and then rebook it for first class under my account? Seems like a reasonable request because she doesn't have the miles. I do. All I'm looking to do is upgrade, economy to first class. I want to give you guys 100 and whatever extra miles. It was 50,000 first class. Now it's 80,000. So double that, 160. So it was 50. Now I'm paying 160. I'm trying to give you guys 110,000 freaking miles for one flight. That's all I want to do. So I ask her, I go through everything. She's like, yeah, that's fine. She's completely clueless on the phone. And it should have been my hint to hang up and call again, but I didn't. So she says, yeah, that's fine. That's no problem at all. She cancels the one-way flight, and she says, the 50,000 miles will be redeposited into your account, and you have to pay $175 for a redeposit fee. Thinking, you gotta be kidding me. You didn't say that, I'm trying to. So I asked to speak to a manager. She calls the manager waives the fee. I'm like, okay, so we're good now. So my 50,000 miles is coming back. I can go ahead book the first class tickets with my AA account. So I booked the first class tickets. She comes back to me and says, okay, now you owe $250 in fees. Say, what the hell? Where do you come up with this stuff? Where's $250 in fees? Where? It's $90 in taxes and $150 because you're booking 2 tickets inside of 21 days. I'm like, woman, I literally booked these tickets a year ago. It was so frustrating for me. I booked these tickets a year ago, and you're telling me that I have to pay $150 within a 21-day rule. I try to, I ask for a manager again to get this waived. She puts me on hold forever. It doesn't get waived. I have to pay this fee. I'm like, whatever. Okay, I'll pay the $250. I put it on my Chase Ritz card. I'm probably gonna get it reimbursed, but it's just not necessarily the point. Is that I can get it reimbursed. It's just the point I'm being charged when I'm trying to freaking upgrade. I'm trying to give you guys 110,000 miles, however many thousands of dollars in points to upgrade a ticket, and you're going to charge me $250. Again, whatever. I'm okay with that. The next morning, her miles get redeposited in her account, and instead of getting 50,000 back from my economy tickets, I get 30,000. Now, I'm just livid. You got to be joking. I have no clue what's going on. So I jump into her AA account, I look at the account activity, and what she did is, because I booked a round trip flight rather than 2 one-way tickets. So this is a something to consider for everybody when you're dealing with American Airlines. Because I booked a round trip flight, she can't cancel one way. She had to cancel the entire ticket, which she never told me on the phone. She rebooked the first leg, my US to Tokyo route, but the mileage increased from 50,000 to 60,000 miles a seat. So it cost me 20,000 more miles. So instead of getting 50,000 miles back from my, return leg, I only get $30,000 or 30,000 miles back. So I call them up. They tell me, no, there's nothing they can do. That's how it is. You can email customer relations. So literally, I try to upgrade a seat from economy to first class. I end up paying 130,000 miles, $250 in fees, and I'm just trying to get back 20,000 miles, which I have to send an email to them. I've sent that email 2 days ago, haven't heard a response back yet, so we'll see how that goes. But just so frustrating. What I was going to say is that if you're flying American Airlines and you're going to book these tickets, do not book a round trip flight, okay? Numerous things come up that you're not expecting. There's so many reasons that you should not book a round trip flight. Book 2 one-way flights. Tell her you want 2 record locators for 2 separate flights. You want a flight to X destination, and you want a flight back from X destination. You do not want one record locator for a flight, because if something like this happens, you can see the predicament I'm in. What if when they cancel that flight, Japan Airlines didn't show those 2 seats available again, which could very well happen because, you know, that's just the way computers are. And with Japan Airlines, there's nothing American Airlines can do. You know, once that situation comes into play where my flight gets canceled and I can't rebook it, there's nothing they're going to do for me. They're going to say, oh, you can fly, you know, we'll put you on one of our flights. They'll open up a seat on their flight, which I have zero interest in. I don't want to fly your, you know, garbage ass airplane. I'm here for, you know, JL. That's why I paid all those extra miles. So that's really interesting. Definitely keep in mind when you're talking about American Airlines, book 2 one-way flights. Do not book a round-trip flight. It can only hurt you booking one-way flights. But the problem is, if you book 2 one-way flights now, if you need to cancel, you're not canceling one flight. You're not canceling one flight, you're canceling 2. So your redeposit fees, I guess, would double. So I guess there's no win. There's no win here. Either situation can get you. I didn't even think about that. So if I book a round trip flight, if I want to cancel and get the miles redeposited, I believe I don't have to pay the redeposit fee on one ticket since it's only one record locator. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on there. Zach says, what kind of cards did I get most recently? Oh, geez. I'd have to look up my spreadsheet, actually. I did get my Fairmont card not too long ago, and I just got my free nights. I have absolutely zero clue where I'm going to use those. I signed up for my fiance. We signed up for the Hilton because it was up to $80,000, I think. So I went ahead and got that card. My problem is now, especially since I booked with I booked this first class flight, is that I'm going to have a lot of hotel rooms. I'm not going to have enough airline miles to get me there. So I'm going to have to start looking into a lot more into some airline cards. Oh, last card I applied for, 314. I applied for the City Advantage card number 6. I did not get the 50,000 miles. So the loophole is, for me, closed. I wish you guys the best of luck, but did not work for me. So, out of luck on that. That was my last card. My last card was signing up for a card to give me an absolutely 0 for a bonus. Before that, I had the Fairmont, the City Advantage, City Advantage, City Advantage, and City Advantage. So 4 in a row. Let's see where am I at for my fiance. Where did she sign up for recently? City Advantage. She signed up for the Wyndham as well. So we have a couple nights. We have 3 nights at a Wyndham, which I don't know what's going to happen with the Wyndham. I don't know what we're going to do with that. We had plans for the one in Hawaii, the real nice one in Hawaii, something beach, and I guess it closed down. Somebody else bought it. So I don't know what we're going to do with that one. Did I attempt to probably change the card to something else or withdraw the application to avoid loss of it? I don't care about my AOA. Don't care. It's garbage already. It's so garbage it doesn't matter to me. I'll just I may product change it to something just to have it, but I don't know. I'm so screwed up with City. I have to I'm worried because I want to slow down with them because I still have 5 cards open with them, or 4 American Airlines cards open with them. So I want to kind of pace out a little bit, and then I'm probably going to close out of those cards, hope for the best, just kind of see how everything develops with that. Because I haven't even started getting thank you point cards yet. So the Prestige and whatever other cards give you, whatever other cards get you some thank you points. I haven't even touched those yet. JT, I've never traveled, but I've amassed a ton of points because I enjoy that aspect. I want to pay my brother's honeymoon in 2017. Can you guys recommend me some destinations? Wow, that's really cool. Man, what a good guy. What a good guy. Looking to spend his points on his brother's honeymoon. Are you planning to join your brother for his honeymoon? Is that what it is? How about you pay for your brother's bachelorette party? That sounds like a better deal for you. No, JT, if you're looking for where to use some of those miles, I don't know. You guys type it in, type in on the side, whatever you guys think. I always point over here because on my camera it's over here, but it's actually over here, isn't it? I think. It is, yeah, okay, so it's a little bit backwards for me. Yeah, plus one the bachelor party. There's so many places, I mean, I'm booking. I just booked our honeymoon for Italy. I used 80,000 Starwood points. I got 5 nights in the Westin Excelsior in Florence. Forget how many American Airlines miles I used. I'm flying economy on the way there, flying business class with Iberia on the way back. I think that's going to be a great trip. I'm excited for Italy, especially staying in Florence. Florence, from what I understand, Florence is a great city. One of the best places in all of Italy to stay. Traveling is going to be a bit rough. I mean, we're going to have a train pass, but still, just getting from Florence to Venice and Florence to Rome, and I guess we're flying into Milan. So getting around with the train is not going to be easy. We're not going to be able to spend a whole lot of time in each city, as with the exception being Florence. But I just felt like it's probably the best that, for honeymoon, it's romantic. Italy. Who doesn't like Italy? So I just haven't been there yet. So I am excited to see, how everything works out with that trip. We're so excited about Japan in a couple weeks that it hasn't even hit me that I'm going to Italy in October. So that's what's interesting. What's the best redemption you've gotten via UR points? See, that's another good question, because earlier in the show I talked about UR points and everything that I've done with them. I haven't really used too many UR points. There's 2 things I think you can really get good value out of your UR points. First class redemptions on airlines, of course, are great. But I tell you what also is good for UR points is Hyatt. I think 25,000 points is very reasonable for a top level Hyatt. I think it's whatever. They have 7 categories, but the 7th category doesn't really exist. There's like 1 or 2 properties. I'm staying at the Andes in Tokyo right now during Sakura season. I don't even know. Let me just look it up. Just curiosity. April 15th tonight I'm going. Look up Andes Hyatt Tokyo. And I'll see here, because I'm actually curious to see what this room is going for right now. This time of the year, those rooms jump up so high that I feel like I'm going to be getting a great value out of it, out of my 25,000 points that I transferred. Check availability. So right now, for 1 night in that room, I'm looking at $570, about $500, somewhere around there. I think we'll probably get upgraded. So I hope to get upgraded. So maybe a $700 redemption. So between $500 to $700 for 25,000 points. I think that's pretty fair. Not bad. It'll be. You can also use those. We stayed down at last month. I stayed down at the Hyatt Zalara, all-inclusive resort. My fiance and I, 25,000 points for 2 people, all-inclusive, all your food, all your alcohol, a beautiful resort. Weather was fantastic in February. So something like that, I think those are great redemptions for UR points if you're not looking for, super first class luxury redemptions. Well, no, I mean, I see it's like you shouldn't really count upgrades in your valuations. Maybe not, but there are certain properties where, just having the platinum card, you're generally going to get an upgrade. So I think it's fair to assume, and even if not, I don't know. I do, just because I generally sweet talk enough to, hope to get upgrades. And somebody else had a question that I'm going to answer that I will bring up about that, my upgrades and stuff like that. Real quick, we'll jump to Flying Explorer. Where's everyone buying their Visa gift cards and MasterCard gift cards with the Wells Fargo Visa? If anybody knows, answer the man because I don't have the card. I don't use them. So no clue on that. But I thought I would at least post it in case somebody wants to answer it here. Let's see here. Next question. Thoughts on Expert Flyer worth the subscription? Well, tough question. I say no. I use it for JL. I guess I don't know. I guess it depends on how busy your life is and what money is to you. $5 or whatever it costs, $5-6 a month. If that's a lot of money to you, if spending $60 a year to save you a little bit of time, is worth it, then yeah, it's worth it. I personally pay for it, but I'm not going to keep paying for it. So I sign up for it for my A flights going over to Italy in October, looking for some upgrades there. I was hoping to use it for JL, but it doesn't work for JL. It doesn't work for a number of airlines. So the fact it doesn't work for a number of airlines and then the ones it works for, so it really only takes me a few seconds to log on once a morning and check to see if there's an upgrade available for those flights. So it just depends, if it's worth it for you. I don't know. For me, I say no. I'm fascinated just to look at the seating charts and kind of get a feel for things. I'm very impatient. I've always been a very impatient person. So it is useful for me, especially when it came to my flight here and coming back from Japan. I was looking like a hawk on Expert Flyer, looking at the seating chart to make sure, because for the previous 3 months, there's been 2 seats, 2 of the 8 taken, which I knew left 6 vacant seats. So I was really hoping I was going to be able to jump in there and jump on one of those awards when they opened up. And then, like I said, a couple of days ago, 4 seats opened up on my flight. So it is nice to, I kind of had a sense that 2 or 3 or 4 were going to open up just because there were 6 open. So things like that it's useful for. I don't know if it's useful, if it's going to be something I'm going to continue paying for, though. It's kind of up to, how much you value your money versus your time. It doesn't take too long to check that kind of stuff up. In your experience, are there any good long weekend redemptions for us working folk who just can't take a week off at a time? Yes. Okay, so this is what I do. I travel around the country on long weekends. I do like weekends plus holiday, so something like Easter would have been great. Easter is a little bit kind of bigger, but President's Day, Martin Luther King Day, if you're off on those kind of days, it's a great weekend plus one to jump in and take some of these trips. I went to Jamaica last month for 2 nights. It was not bad, but we were rushed. So I don't think I would do something like that quite again. But I went to Chicago for 2 nights. We stayed at the IHG, the Holiday Inn Plaza, Mart Plaza. That was a beautiful hotel, very affordable on points, magnificent view, especially from the bar downstairs. Man, it was incredible. And I felt, a couple days there. I think I spent 2 or 3 nights there, maybe like on a Friday or a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Left on Tuesday, so I did take 1 day off work. That was a great trip. We had a lot of fun. We got to see a good bit of the city. I didn't feel like we were rushed. So things like that, domestic trips that you can take. We're trying to go to Seattle for the 4th of July. So I think that'd be another great trip to take for, a long weekend kind of a thing where you can anything within the States, you can generally get away with a long weekend. Even the bigger cities, you could spend a week there, but that's just a bit much. I think a couple nights, 2-3 nights is really all you need. So those are good redemptions. Anything within the States, I think. Last question I got here. Let's see here. Mohammed says, could I tell a little bit of info about how much time I spend on the blog? Is it my second job, and what's the potential extra income for such blogs? How much time do I spend on the blog? Okay. So first thing, it's not my blog. It's Jesse's blog, Loophole Travel. That's all ran by him. I'm just the occasional writer for it. So unfortunately for me, I haven't spent time recently on it as much as I should. I have an article I'm writing, but I just been kind of typing away a few sentences here and there. I don't know. It's like writer's block. I'm having a hard time with it. If you were doing your own blog, you're going to be spending a lot of time on it. There's no doubt about it. Those articles, the articles that you read about and you kind of see, here and there. It's a lot of work. And generally when you're just getting started, so like when Jesse started up his blog, Loophole Travel, nobody reads your blog. Nobody cares about what you write. And you have to write pretty much every day. So all that combined makes it an incredibly difficult thing to get started with. But then after a while, after you write for a number of months, and you start to kind of get that subscriber base up, and people are a little bit more passionate about what you're writing, it does make it a lot easier. I love when I write an article on his website and somebody references it or links it or something like that, because I know that it's out there and that we're actually reading it. And I think that if people are reading those blog posts, obviously it becomes a lot easier to do. Is it my second job? Absolutely not. And what's my potential extra income for such blogs? Don't know. I don't get paid to write. I don't get a single dollar. I hope to get a few referrals, right? That's all. That's all I get. Jesse, I'm sure he's making some money off of it. I don't know how much, but it's not. No, it's not like a second job. I want that kind of money. Maybe $100 a month. In advertisements and things like that. But you're not making a tremendous amount of money off of blogging. I think that most people, in Jesse's situation, my situation, we're doing it because we just enjoy talking about it, and we're hoping for a referral here and there. When it comes to some of the perks, so I generally do try to reach out to hotels. I let them know that I'm a travel writer. We have X amount of viewers every month. I don't know if Jesse's comfortable giving out that that number, but we have X amount of viewers every month. I'm a writer. I'm a travel writer. Here's some of my content I've written before. I'm just trying to, if you guys have any information about pictures, or if you want me to talk about your restaurants or anything like that, if I can sweet talk them into give me an upgrade or a restaurant credit, something like that, all the better. It doesn't influence my articles at all, because the thing is, I'm generally staying at really nice properties, like the Hyatt Zilara in freaking Jamaica. Like, you can't. It's hard to nitpick those kind of places. I mean, when you're paying $1,000 a night, it's hard to this didn't meet my expectations. Most of the things generally do meet your expectations. So no, I don't get any extra income though. Nothing like that. I wish I did. Man, you guys are just typing away, Jacob here. And what are you guys talking about? You're talking about, I've been trying to follow, but it's so hard. I don't know what we're looking at. Swiping points and cards and something else or other. Manufacturer spending to some extent. All right, guys. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Choo-choo. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is end the recording. And, we'll go ahead. We'll probably have the same thing next week. I'm going to try to do it at the same time, Monday, from 9 to 10. I felt like there was a lot of people here. We have 40 people in here generally the entire time. So I felt that was pretty successful. We'll go ahead and do this next week, same time. The week after that, I'll be in Japan, so I don't know what we're going to do about that. I'm not going to, sorry guys, I love everybody, I appreciate everybody coming in, but I'm not going to spend my time in Japan talking about churning. I'm going to be living churning, so not going to happen there. But next week, we will do it same time, same place, 9 o'clock. I'll make a post probably on Thursday or so with a reminder, and I'll make a post just like I did today with the, I might do something with Japan. The problem is that the time zone is obviously so different. It's going to be challenging for me. I may have to do like something when I first wake up in the morning, just kind of like me and my hair just all, show you the guys the picture outside and just, living it up. Because I do have, like my Surface, so I'm able to take the thing around with me, which is great. So maybe I'll just like walk around. I paid, okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting off track real quick. I'll have that conversation with you guys in a second. I am going to stop the recording. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Make sure to come back next week. We'll see you there.